I received several questions from you, so I thought I'm finding it hard to speak because it's so cold, and I've just been for 6,000 steps, so my lips are not moving properly. So hopefully, in a few minutes, they will thaw out. I wanted to answer some of your questions because I think these questions are really relevant and really connecting, compelling, and we can all identify with them. So I'm going to have one question today. Lips, please note, still not thawing. It's also dark. I've just been to the gym and I have just been for 6,000 steps for a walk. So the question today, make sure you subscribe. Please comment on this video. The question for today, drum roll, is Lauren, what inspires you? What inspires you to keep going? The message is by Angie. So Angie asks, what inspires you? That's what we're going to look at today. What inspires you? The first point of that question is I would ask, Angie, why do you ask what inspires you? We walk through life wanting to feel particular feelings, thoughts, and a particular ambience in our life, whether that's bonding, whether that's comfort, whether that's elements of success. We have experiences and feelings that we want to feel. So, the question, what inspires you? Ask yourself, why are you asking that question? And then take moments, minutes in silence and wait for the answer. One of the challenges here is we often, or we can ask questions that we think are popular. And when I say we think they are popular, it's not a matter of we don't immediately think to ourselves, oh, what does everybody want to know? That's not what we do. We are wired as social creatures, as herd creatures, to appeal to the herd, to want to please the herd. And this can be a really subtle nuance or subtle feeling that we're almost not aware that we have. Can everyone hear me? Can you let me know if you hear me? Sorry, I've got a little bit of a cold from walking in the cold. So ask yourself, why do you want to ask what inspires you? Now, from there, hey, thanks, Chris Gunning. So, from asking and spending time in silence, asking, why do I want to know what inspires Lauren? The answer would probably be because you want to know about inspiring yourself. I'm just going to look at some of these comments. Yes. Molly, I'm glad you can hear me. Okay, coming back to what inspires me, there are several elements to what inspires me. Firstly, I'm inspired by my father and my mother equally and differently. I think about my father being a refugee and coming from Poland and establishing himself in Australia, his difficulty, his challenges, and his love for me, and the way he drew towards the end of his life. No matter what pain he was going through physically from Parkinson's, he would always appreciate, we could call them the little things, but for him, they weren't little. A cup of tea, the company of his children, the company of his wife, my mother, enjoying the garden, and being alive. So, my father, as a mentor, I feel a duty to uphold his sentiment and enjoy my life. I don't feel that the purpose of life is happiness. I feel the purpose of life is to experience life and offer some benefits to those around you. It doesn't have to be grandiose, it doesn't have to affect the rest of the world. It can be just paying it forward and affecting those around. So the first point is honoring my father, his legacy. The second point is that around the time of the end of my marriage, I'm married again. Hello, Shannon. I'm married for the second time. Around the time drawing towards the end of my first marriage, and after that point, there was a group of people that dedicated themselves to my demise, that spent a lot of time trying to pull me down professionally and personally. And I speak to you about the importance of letting go negative experience and not being weighed down by negative experience. But this set of experiences, when it occurred at the time, I said to myself one day, I said to myself, every time I have a negative experience or an experience of adversity, I will commit myself to my goal or goals 100 times more. And it was a saying I would deliberately say to myself many times, and that has served me. So I'm inspired by adversity. I don't want adversity. I don't seek it. I don't enjoy it, but I use it. I exploit it. It's not easy to, and I do so with kindness. If I go through a trauma or a negative, a sad experience, I don't go, yes, I'll jump up straight away. I do languish in metaphorical fetal position on the floor as I'm getting through it. So, point two is I use adversity to inspire deliberately. Point three is I do not believe that inspiration is just about a spark. A spark is exactly that. It's a spark. That's how, well, it's quicker than that, isn't it? Um, so, a spark or motivation is not enough. It's not enough to achieve goals. And humans, we love goals. We're goal setters. So the spark is exactly that. That is the gun at the beginning of the race. What gets us through the race is discipline, practice, grit, resilience, and self awareness. Self awareness is a practice. I strongly, fervently, passionately, intensely believe in practice. Practice in meditation, practice in every area of our life. Someone said to me in the last couple of days, they said, open quotes, I feel like such a failure, close quotes. And I chose to, on that occasion, say, great, good on you. Success, the journey towards success, the finishing line to success is always, always, always paved with failure. We are never going to achieve Jack Rabbit without failure. Failure is painful. Failure is confronting. Failure often incites self doubt. Failure is compulsory, a compulsory part of success. And of course, we can debate the meaning of these words. They have a variety of different meanings, but I'm talking about success for you. Hey, Pete. So I've talked about my father inspiring me in inspiration. I've talked about the group of people that have demonstrated hate towards me, how that's inspiring. Don't you love that? And I've talked about the importance of discipline and practice. It is the tortoise like approach to life that always wins. The tortoise always wins over the rabbit. I was just listening to a podcast this morning when I was walking about how to go viral. I obviously love creating content, it's my thing, it's something I really enjoy. Oh, the sun's coming up, it's quite beautiful. I love creating content. So I read a lot of content, watch podcasts, listen to podcasts, etc., on virality, how to get people to listen to you. And it's really interesting that virality is a science. It's not about Russian roulette. It's not about Tats Lotto. It's not about the winning lottery ticket. It's about being the tortoise in life. The tortoise in life always beats the rabbit in life, always. And what are the elements of the tortoise? Wisdom, being sage, taking one step at a time, slowly, steadily, with reflection. So, whether you want to go viral on YouTube or write a bestseller or whatever you want to do, it is always about being the tortoise. So, I am inspired by the tortoise model. I'm inspired by the behavior of the metaphorical tortoise in life. Whether you're coming out of a relationship breakdown, whether you are a parent estranged from your children or you are the child estranged from a parent, I'm talking about really adverse situations here. Whether you've lost a job, whether you have lost a large amount of money through no fault of your own, how to get out of it? Be the reflective tortoise. Take time, reflect, sit and think in your silence, and then take one step, and then another, and another, and another. I find these things inspiring. I also, another element of inspiration for me is listening to compelling stories from others, their journey. Be mindful that their journey is their journey. And if we adopt their journey, that is not going to serve our purpose. I listen to other people's narratives to remind myself of what makes me me. I'm inspired by other people's narratives, and then I listen to the elements of their narrative and I think, what are the elements to my narrative? What makes me me? The question, what makes me me, is a question that I'm answering as I get older. As a younger person, I was incredibly affected by social conditioning, i.e., what is the definition of beautiful? Am I loved? Does society look down upon me with approval? Have I ticked all the boxes that I should tick at a particular age, those benchmarks at a particular age? And I was terribly held back by the need to please, which is a social construct. As herd animals, we want to belong to the herd. We want to be seen as belonging. We want to be recognized as belonging. To reject belonging or to reject our social need to belong, I think is misplaced. We are animals. We are herd animals. We're always going to have a biological need to belong. So if we go, I'm a rebel, I don't need to belong, I want freedom, I think we're lying to ourselves. I'm not a big one on that word liar, but I'm going to use it now. If we reject the premise that we need to belong, I believe we are lying to ourselves. We are animals. Hello, Sarah. Hi, Max. Hi, Pete. Hi, Shannon. We are animals. We will always be animals. And we are herd animals instinctively, physically, biologically. We are captivated by the energy of the herd. We are affected, Lord of the Flies type affection, by the behavior and the morals and the values of the herd. We can try and reject that, but it takes a real conscious intention. I'm not saying we can't do it, but to reject that we have this magnetic pull to the herd, I think is not self-serving. And by not being self-serving, we are less able to benefit others if we reject our animal behavior, our herd behavior. And in so doing, say things like, I want to be free. Uh, I'm going to be uncompromising. I'm going to be unapologetically my authentic self, which is something that's said on social media quite a lot. Every time we relate to somebody else, we compromise in some shape or form. It is the level of compromise which matters. How much do we compromise? We've all got that friend that just has political beliefs we don't agree with, and we just don't speak about politics when we're with them. Or we've got that friend that all they can talk about is the football. So when we're with them, we know we need to talk about the football. Or that friend that just wants to talk about their broken relationship. So we think, okay, if I want to hang out with Tom, I've got to talk a little bit about that. So there's little bits of uh, shape shifting with each relationship. When we're in love, when we have an intimate relationship that is sustainable, that lasts, there's so much compromise. My mother and my father, I think about this constantly. My mum was really clever. She met dad when she was 18 and she became his legal secretary. And she really devoted herself to his career at the expense of hers. And she's passed now, but I'd love to ask her, do you feel that that was worth it? I know what she'd say. She'd say, absolutely. But there were things that she never did because she devoted herself to to my father. She never had a career. She never pursued completely academic pursuits that she wanted to. She didn't have a business. She would have been great in politics. She was a mum, and she was the somewhat silent supporter of my father, uh, in many ways silent. So that's interesting. She compromised herself, and thanks, Jimmy. And she believed that was the right approach for her. And it was so funny, or not funny at all, that when she died, she dropped dead quickly. Dad just stopped eating and died days later, 8 days later. And he was palliative anyway. So it was a beautiful story. So, inspiration also requires awareness that we can be inspired by something. Hey, Brandon, it's lovely to hear from you. Um, we can be inspired by something, but we need that reality component where we can assess our inspiration, unpack it, and reflect on it as positively as possible. I'm going to leave it there with those elements. I'm going to use these uh, reality shows, these lives. If you put questions under these in the comments below, I will answer these in a live. Yes, it is interesting, isn't it? Inspiration. There's a lot more I haven't spoken about. And I find the notion of compromise in social relationships interesting because one of my flaws and strengths is that I, at times, I think I compromised too far in helping my sister, in caring for my father when he was at the end of his life. I gave up, you would argue, too much. Yet, I now look back at that time I spent with dad before he died, and it's a beautiful memory. But I literally stopped my life in many ways to do so. So it's one of those discussions you could really, like a gem you could hold up to the light and it looks different in different ways. Oh, yeah. So inspiration is different to being inspired. So what is our inspiration? It may be a piece of art, it may be a sculpture, it may be a relationship. We can hold that to the light and be inspired by it, turn it around. Yet we need to be our authentic self as much as possible. Yes, she's still making music. Uh, I must send you her details. She's got a band in Melbourne as well. Um, I'm going to visit her and watch her band, so that's great. I'm going to finish up there, guys. Uh, Questions you have, place below. Remember, you can book a counseling session with me or recommend me to your friends by logging into Simply Book Me. She does indie, and she's also doing a little bit of heavy metal, but her solo stuff is indie. Um, Please subscribe. Please share videos to subscribe because subscriptions are helps to me because they drive new audiences to find out about me. Okay, I'm going to go. What do you think? Yes. What do you think about inspiration? What's your opinion? What's your analysis of inspiration? What inspires you? And what is the difference between being inspired and inspiration? Have a think. And new questions placed below. Oh, yes. Okay. Love you. I'm sorry, Molly. I'll address that.